Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First on our agenda is director's decisions, violation resume, warning letters, and inactive status letters.
I'll make a motion to approve the director's decisions, violation resume, warning letters, and inactive status letters.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Director, we have some new rules.
We have one set of rules that from Act 575 of 2021. This act authorizes the beer wholesalers to purchase and sell spirituous liquor beverages classified as ready to drink products containing the spirituous liquor with a final finished product of no greater than 15% alcohol by weight. And so in order to accommodate that within our rules, we've had to make a couple of changes on section 1.193. At the end of a beer wholesale permit authorizes the purchase of beer, we've had to add malt liquor or spirituous liquor beverages classified as ready to drink products containing spirituous liquor with a final finished product of no greater than 15% alcohol by weight from a licensed manufacturer or importer and the sale thereof to two persons holding permits to sell such products. And then it continues with the normal language for consumption on or off premises. Additionally, we have had to change section 2.16 down towards the bottom. We have added half the sentence, all brand labels and brand label extensions shall be renewed annually. We have added, in addition to the label registration process provided above, spirituous liquor beverages classified as ready to drink products containing spirituous liquor with a final finished product of no greater than 15% alcohol by weight may be registered under ACA 32409.
Any questions for the director? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve these changes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you. So that's the five of the,
That's the only rules we have today.
all right.
Before we go in, I do want you all to be aware at the November 17th board meeting coming up this next month, we will have the two individuals that we drew, two applications we drew for the Bear County liquor stores. We will also have the conclusion of the public comment time period for the previous sets of rules that you all have passed. So that'll be a public comment meeting as well as the Bear County liquor stores in addition to any other violation periods we have.
Does what we just approved have a public comment period?
It will have a public comment period. It will not fall in this one because I still have to get the secretary's approval and the governor's approval before we can start the public comment time period. So it will probably hit at the December board meeting is the goal.
How many applicants were there in Sevier County?
There were 6. And we awarded 2.
Thank you. I think everybody's here for our 9:15 hearing. Brenda Fry Harris, the Seafood Bar and Grill, 616 North Main, Stuttgart, registered beer and wine combo, new, refused September 16, 2021. Prosecuting attorney objects and information received from the chief of police. So who's here to testify today in this hearing? Okay, we all raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. And you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, thank you. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've just handed out the exhibit packet. The first page of the exhibit packet is the director's decision denying this application. It sets forth the basis for the denial. On the third page, we have comments from public officials. We have Mr. Chief Morton from the Chief of Police of Stuttgart, Arkansas. He's objected. He has provided a basis for his objection. In addition, the following pages, page 4, 5, 6, and 7, are a police report that the chief objected, also provided with his objection. The next page, page 8, That is the prosecuting attorney for that judicial district, Tim Blair. He has also objected to this application. As you can see, he provided his basis for the objection inside that objection form. The last 2 pages that I had in this packet are the actual investigation report. Agent Latrice Ellis was the agent who investigated this matter. We were notified this morning she will be unable to be here, so I went ahead and provided y'all the investigation form so you can review it. If y'all have any questions about the investigation form, y'all can ask me directly, and I think, y'all can ask me and I can try to answer those as best I can. If you will permit, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go ahead and call the chief of police. He's here today to testify. He also brought some video evidence he would like to play for y'all. Mr. Chairman, I move to admit this entire packet as ABC's Exhibit 1. Thank you. Chief Duke, will you please state your name for the record?
Mark Duke.
Okay, and are you here today in opposition to the application filed by Brenda Fry Harris for a restaurant beer and wine combo doing business as the Seafood Bar and Grill on 616 North Main, Stuttgart, Arkansas?
Yes.
Okay, can you please tell the board the basis for your objection?
The restaurant portion is not a problem. The problem is there is inadequate, for lack of better terminology, inadequate supervision of the area and facility. There's not a lot of parking, and when you put 100+ people, no parking. Now go inside and it spills out into the street. It's right, it sits just off of our main street. There is maybe 6 parking spaces in front of the restaurant. Then there's a car wash that is owned by other individuals. And in the rest, like I said, the restaurant part is not a problem. It's the problem with the after hours and the parties, and everything spills over. We've had burnouts, donuts in the street about striking other people. We've had several incidents with shots fired, fights outside. Several individuals were shot outside, and a lot of this stuff started in the back room. The inadequate security. The video that we brought was shortly after one of the shootings occurred in the street.
Chief Duke, at this time, would you like me to play that video?
Yes, please.
Okay.
While you're playing that, quick question for the chief. The car wash that's to the south of that building, that's not owned by the restaurant?
No, it's owned by 2 other individuals, and they don't want people parking there because it blocks up all of the car wash bays.
So it's operational.
It is fully operational, and they've had a lot of issues with it being just trashed after the events.
So the only parking on that building is the west side,
Yes,
toward the street.
between Main Street and the building.
The grass area north of that is not owned by the restaurant.
I don't know who owns the grass area.
Okay.
Audio will kick in just a minute. I believe this is 121.
Chief, what's the date of this video?
April 22nd, I believe.
April 22nd? Okay. April 17th? Okay.
One night a week. Or morning
It's
of the
the
week.
Friday night and on to Saturday.
Saturday morning.
Ms. Fry Harris, would you like to come up here?
Sure. How y'all doing?
Good.
I don't have any further questions for Chief Duke. Ms. Fry Harris, do you have any questions for Chief Duke?
Yes, now where's the violence in there? You know, I'm the one who let you all in.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I tried to cooperate with y'all because we didn't know what was going on. That was a private party for Stetson. So, where's the violence?
And I'll be the first to say, this is nothing personally against you. I have no ill feelings towards you or trying to run a legitimate business or anything. The violence is spilling out from inside, it's coming outside.
But those wasn't our customers. That was a private event. Those people were trying to get in there. They didn't have an invitation. It wasn't allowed inside nor on the premises. Now, I can't help if they, spill over onto the car wash. I have no control of that. I'm gonna take control of what goes on inside.
But you have to be adequately prepared for anything that occurs on premises, inside or out.
Did my best. Like I said, I
don't have the staffing to provide someone up there to, keep watch on what goes on right outside the premises.
It was on my premises. On my premises, it was clear, even in the inside. You see no violence. Everybody, Stetson is the one in front of the camera. Was there any violence, you all search every area in that building.
Correct.
It was his party, and as long as there's no violence, no weapons, none of that. I don't allow it on the premises. I keep that premises clear of any kind of weapons. And you know that. Now, what goes on at that car wash, I can't control that. I can only control the seafood bar and grill parking. There's plenty of parking. You only saw the inside. There's the north side where 12 vehicles, I have a Ford F-250. You can park 12 vehicles on that north side. And also, what you didn't know, that Mr. Norman, who owned the laundromat across the street, gave me permission in April before we even opened to park over.
Okay.
All you have to do, only thing I'm trying to get the community connect with me. I knew that.
Ms. Fry Harris, I don't mean to cut you off. You'll have your opportunity to present your side of the case here in a minute. I just didn't know if you had any questions directly for Chief regarding his testimony or video. Mr. Chairman, at this time I move to admit the video as opposition's Exhibit 1. Does the board have any questions for?
Was there a shooting that night, Chief, or fight, or?
It was out front. Lieutenant Wallace, I was not on scene. Lieutenant Wallace, who's the gentleman that come with me, was on scene. And he would be able to pick up any of that information and tell you anything that I can't.
Will he be interviewed?
Yeah, I'm about to call him up. Lieutenant Walsh, you go ahead and come on up here. Lieutenant Walsh, will you please state your name for the record?
Lieutenant Michael Wallace,
Where are you currently employed?
Stickar Police Department.
Okay. In the course of your employment, did you have an opportunity to investigate a shooting that occurred on or around 616 North Main by the Seafood Bar and Grill?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When approximately did that shooting occur?
On 4/17, we got the call a little after 1 a.m. on that Sunday morning that there were shots fired. When officers arrived on the scene, everybody denied any type of violence or any act. The Seafood Bar and Grill was packed, both sides of Main Street, the car wash. There was probably close to 100+ people in and out of the restaurant. No cooperation at first on the first call, and then approximately 2 minutes later, we received a phone call from the hospital that we had 2 victims that had been shot, and so we sent units out to the hospital. One of my detectives arrived on scene at the hospital, advised us of what the victims had stated, so we went back to the bar and grill and the car wash and roped off the entire area. The video that y'all just witnessed or watched was from the second arrival on scene at the Seafood Bar and Grill. And I sent in numerous on-duty and off-duty officers into the bar and grill looking for our shooter that was at that party. And he had fled prior to our second arrival. If we had cooperation from all parties involved and at the location that night, we would have apprehended our shooter on the scene. The shooting did happen on the car wash side, which was approximately 15-20 foot from the restaurant. In the front, we roped it off, blocked in a lot of vehicles that was using the car wash. They were parked in about 4 to 5 deep from Main Street all the way back to the chain link fence. Several patrons that left the restaurant that night had to wait till we got through processing the scene. Up close to Main Street side, it's gonna be when the video first started, that's where we found a beer can that one of our victims was holding. He got shot in the hand, exploded the beer can. It's part of the evidence of the shooting. And then he also took 2 more rounds. Our other victim got caught in the crossfire. And then there's a trailer that sits right on the other side of the fence of the car wash. It also sustained several bullet holes in it from the shooting that night and damage done to the car wash because the owners of it came up and filed reports of vandalism and beer cans and whiskey bottles and everything else being thrown all over the lot.
So there were cars parked, the shooting occurred on the property of the car wash, correct?
That is correct.
And you stated there was a bunch of cars parked in the car wash area, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Were you able to ascertain based on your investigation whether the vehicles parked in that car wash were parking for the seafood bar and grill?
They were. We ended up having to run them off. This is the first act of violence where we had victims shot. We have had some other calls of weapons involved. We made a drug arrest and a weapons arrest off of a individual that was leaving the Seafood Bar and Grill on a separate night, and she went got mad at somebody, went out to her car, retrieved a gun, and started a confrontation. We arrived on scene just minutes thereafter, and she was taken into custody. But she had exited the seafood bar and grill, which she was parked across the street at another business. And that business also has had issues with patrons of the seafood bar and grill parking in and around their business, tearing it up, driving through the yard, driving through the lot. And I believe we've got 2 reports on file at the police department where the building itself has been damaged by patrons after they leave the seafood bar and grill.
Okay, one final question. You may or may not know the answer to this. Do you know the number of times, the approximate number of times officers have had to respond to incidents at this area in the past year?
I do not. We work criminal investigations, so unless it's something that CID would be called out for, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Do you know if Chief Duke would know that information?
I can't answer for what Chief Duke can answer.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Harris, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. Now, how can you determine that those was our patrons when
Because-
actually it was a private party? Okay. Yeah. I let you all in there each and every time you come, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you just stated that I wasn't cooperative. And it was.
I didn't say that you weren't cooperative. I said that some of the patrons and other people were not cooperative with the investigation.
But I did everything to help you, all right?
You let us in to check.
And around the premises. That's
That is correct.
the only thing I know.
Yes.
Board members, y'all have any questions?
A little bit confused. First time you went, you
Yes.
said you weren't able to come in.
No, officers were not able to get any cooperation. Everybody was denying that there was even a conflict or anything else. So
You didn't have a problem getting into the facility the first time.
I wasn't there the first time.
As part of your investigation, when you were walking through the premise, I saw people with cups, look like in the video.
Yes.
Was there any looking into, were drinks being sold in there, or was it like a BYOB kind of?
We have no idea. We did not look into that. We were looking for our shooter.
Okay. Are you aware of any events since they've opened, which I guess, did y'all open in April?
We alternated, John.
We opened in June, they booked a party for this.
Okay.
No, sir, I can answer it first. We do not say anything.
Even these private events,
We don't say.
so do they bring in their own alcohol?
They bring in the drinks and, it's beer. It was in that cup.
Okay,
Consider that. So, yes, sir.
that's all the question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we don't have any other exhibits or witnesses we'd like to call. I'll turn it over to Ms. Fry-Harris. Ms. Fry-Harris, you are now free to present your side of the case. Any evidence you like?
He wants to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll need to step up here and please state your name for the record.
Hey, I'm the son.
Just talking to the microphone.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm the son of Brenda Fry. I'm also the cook at the Seafood Bar and Grill. And the Seafood Bar and Grill wasn't even established in April, but somebody rented it out for a private party. And as the gentleman over there kept saying, it was over 100 vehicles, but the video clearly shows only about 20 people inside our restaurant. And he says the victims there was an altercation inside our restaurant, and led to outside where the violence happened. But when the officers walked through our party, I asked them what was going on. And one of them said it was a shooting up the street, and they had information that the shooter ran into our restaurant. And so I'm like, okay, my mom let them in. They also viewed the camera footage, and then they left because they had no evidence that it was any altercation or shooting involving the restaurant bill. And that's what I like to say.
Ms. Fryhurst, do you have any exhibits you would like me to provide to the board?
Yes. First of all, I try to, help out in all kind of ways. Most of these, any customer is not on or near the car wash or your vehicle would be towed per Charlie Holt. Charlie Holt is the gentleman who owns, one of the gentlemen who owns the car wash. I try to keep our customers and patrons from over there. And it means, and right here, there's another thing. Here's, oh my God. This is for Mr. Norman, giving me permission, so this is. And that's the, laundromat parking.
Ms. Fry, while you're costing out some of your exhibits, can you give a little bit of context of what your restaurant, like your establishment's business model is? Because at least myself personally, when I think of like a seafood bar and grill, I'm thinking like a food restaurant, and in the video we saw, it was more of like a club kind of scene. And so are you going to be doing both? Could you give us like an explanation of what you're looking at doing on a normal week?
Now, at the back, sir, they rinse it out, we have birthday party, so we also have repast.
You have what, I'm sorry?
Repast, like.
Party,
Oh, okay.
I would like to say, when we opened up the seafood bar, having events like birthday parties wasn't our intention. But people came up and asked if they rented out for a birthday party for the back area. Do you have any more? And in our restaurant, it closes at 8 p.m. And we were looking to extend the hours probably to 10 after we were approved for the alcohol license, beer and wine license. The events, like the parties, that wasn't really a part of our plan, but somebody came and asked us. And for now on, we have it during business hours, so all parties are like during 2 to 6 p.m. or 2 to 8 p.m.
So will you have any additional, so if a patron or someone was to call in and do an event that was to go, they wanted to run it past 8 or 10 p.m. at this point in time, would that be something you're going to do?
No, sir. Because I stay here in North Little Rock. And me staying to oversee an event that lasts over 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. and me driving, making it home at 3 a.m. is not an option. Like I said, that event that was there, it was before the restaurant was even open for business or established.
And in your application, this would be maybe a question for Michael, but on your application, did it state, did y'all list that you're going to be doing private events?
Yes, I did. People wanna do line dancing. They have all of these competitions and stuff like that. And I'm just really, I'm happy that I can provide, different venues, because we never thought about this, but people want to come up and have birthday parties. They want to come up and have makeup events, which one picture you would see from there at one of the events. It just, a perfect safe place, that's what I'm saying. And if there was any danger in it, why would people just want to look for birthday party for the kids, as you just saw? We just had one Saturday, this past Saturday. It's no threat with the seafood party.
Tell what time that birthday party was beginning.
The birthday party, some starts at 2 to 6 p.m. Some starts at 1 to probably 5.
Ms. Fry-Harris, I have a few quick questions. Your entertainment forum states, restaurant, bar, and grill will serve seafood, chicken, burgers. Entertainment includes karaoke and dancing. Live dancers will be available in the near future. Live band will also be available in the near future. Mic night, contest drawing are permitted. Tournament card games or dominoes are permitted. Line dancing contests, birthday parties, any holiday parties. Does that sound accurate?
Yes, all but the line dancers. You said live dancers.
So this is live.
Line, L-I-N-E,
Okay, so dancing is referring to patron dancing and nothing inappropriate.
nothing inappropriate.
So fully clothed dancing.
Yes, yes.
And as far as card games and dominoes, there won't be any gambling permitted with that either, will there?
They have domino contest. Mainly on a Sunday afternoon, but now the football season, basketball season and stuff, it starts.
Okay, thank you.
We have cash prizes or anything like that for people that,
Well, actually,
It'll probably be like,
cash
yeah,
prizes
it'll probably be like outfit or something.
or tickets
Tickets.
for a ball game
Or TV or something.
like that.
Now that you've been approached by patrons wanting to have events and things like that, oftentimes we see business models morph into something that they didn't originally come here to get a permit for. At this point in time, what do you see the bulk of your business being? Is it gonna be a seafood grill, or is it gonna be a bar?
It's seafood bar and.
I understand that, but how much seafood grill and how much bar? And then,
That's a great question.
with lots of parties and events going on, generally you don't see near as many patrons coming to eat, so then it turns into a bar.
Yes.
And that's one thing that we have to consider
Yeah.
for not only the convenience and advantage to the public, but also the safety to the public, also a hindrance to the police force. I'd just like to know now that I don't want your business model to change when you walk out here with a permit.
It's not gonna.
So I'd like to know honestly, what do you feel like the bulk of your business is gonna be?
I would like to answer that. The seafood bar and grill was my Domino's card games, that wasn't in my it wasn't my plans. I wanted it like Buffalo Wild Wings, they come in like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., come have some seafood and have a drink. And like if you go on Google, it states my business is closed at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. if we get an alcohol beverage license. And I didn't have any plans for anybody renting things. They just came after we got the building. And
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking is now that you're being approached with that, how do you see your business model changing? Because we'd like to know in 6 months, what are you gonna be doing compared to what you applied for a permit?
yes, sir, I just wanted to do 90% restaurant and they buy a drink with their seafood if they want. That's all I want. That was my whole idea for this business.
Do you intend to continue to rent out the space and let parties go on after midnight?
I am against it, and midnight is not in the question for me. Like I say, I can't stay there till midnight and then drive all the way to North Little Rock, make it home at 1 in the morning.
Would you be agreeable as a condition to getting the permit to closing at 9 every night of the week?
Yes, sir.
So whose name is on the permit? Okay. Do you plan on having, are you gonna have a say so on the management and operations?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So who's gonna, he's
Yeah,
saying what his intentions with it are. Now, what are your intentions?
yeah, but I wanted to stay open at least to 10 o'clock. And then, on Saturdays, especially since, the kids want to have birthday party, they feel, I want to do their events in the daytime. Grown people, when they want to book parties, event, because off at 9:45, so I can close at 10. Give him time to come back home to dinner. See, I stay in Clarendon, which is only 20 minutes.
I do might want to add, it was a particular event with a blues artist that came, and I love their crowd. They real respectful. We told them where to park because the owner of the car wash is named Charlie Holt, and he asked us to have our guests don't park on his car wash. After he asked us that, we never had our guests, our customers, park on his car wash. And I like the older crowd because they know how to. It's like they got common sense, I guess, and they real respectful. Like our customers are more diverse. Matter of fact, the local people in Stuttgart, a lot of them don't even come to the restaurant. And we get like, well, a lot of younger people don't come down to the restaurant. It's more older people, and I kind of like that, and because they know how to conduct themselves. So,
Yeah, the older, person you're talking about, I don't really so, you know, we have blues singers come live band. That's what I like.
and we haven't had one in probably a month or so, but that event did last to probably midnight, but they was real respectful. You know, they followed instructions and everything. But I'm not sure, that event was part of my mom's idea, so I'm not sure if she's gonna plan anymore, but if she do, it won't last till midnight. All these ideas from people renting the event, after we got the building, people approached my mom, asking could they rent this for this, and that, it just came along.
Oh, right. I love it.
So, Ms. Fry, kind of just to summarize what Jamie and Michael were saying, if it was to be considered by the board today as part of a potential approval, if a time was to be set to say like, it'd be conditionally approved, but you weren't to stay open past, as Michael said, 9, or as you said, 10, even if it is a great blues band or someone that's being respectful, if you were to hold an event that exceeded those times that were discussed and agreed upon here today, that would be putting you in violation of what is, part of your license, and, you'd be subject to losing license, fees, penalties, all that kind of stuff. So if a time was to be set that everyone, agreed on and the board was to vote to approve it, you would be held to that under no circumstances without getting prior approval for a change from the ABC on changing your operating hours and procedures.
Yeah, what a strain on, now what if they would want to stay later, if I did say 10 o'clock and, midnight. Some band. I want to know if the chief of police, what hours would be the best for them?
Non-violent hours, probably.
Yeah.
We did executive, like I said,
12 o'clock? Yeah, legitimate time?
I like 9 I know. I'm not from Stuttgart, and
Yes, our city ordinance or noise ordinance, loud music
Yes.
on, I believe it's either 10 or 11. So, and I know it carries even through the building. And there's been several times when there's been private parties where officers had to come over and tell them, turn it down, I can hear it a block away. So about 11 o'clock is about as late as, you know, it's right in the middle of a residential area. There's businesses right there, but then there's houses all the way down the backside. And, you know, try to take into consideration, because I can completely respect everything that's being said here today. I agree with some, I disagree with some. But for the better part, I would say no later than 11.
Chief, if they were to agree to that 10 o'clock as a shut off time for bands, music, all serving, all of that, would that change your opinion on objecting to how things are, your objection to their application? If there was to be time set that they were to be held to as far as when they're open, possibly a security plan in place that, you know, that they have a security officer on the weekends, or we've seen that done in other establishments.
Yes, I know where you're going. Yes, that would change.
we also had.
Right.
Our Seneca. We had an officer, Seneca, during the police event. That's how we went out with security, because I want to save the place. I don't want to, you know, I really want to leave before nightfall, but you know, the nighttime to come, and but the time change, that's why I had 7 hours to 8 o'clock, because in the summertime it was before it got dark.
Well, I think we have an opportunity to maybe improve the situation for the police force in the community if the permit is contingent on y'all shutting down private parties at 10 o'clock at night. The problems are going to happen at 10 o'clock at night. And so is it important enough for y'all to have this permit to say, or to agree to that stipulation?
Yes.
And so.
Chief Duke, have you had any issues since this shooting? Have you had any issues since the shooting?
Just one.
And what was, can you summarize what his was?
Yeah, gun pulled. Right assault there.
The female that went back out to her car and got it.
The only other establishments that we had inside the city limits both hold permits. They also have on-site security there for any of those, and I'm not sure the hours that they close.
So you're saying you'd like to see some on-site security?
Yeah, any of the private parties, yes.
How are we going to address the parking issue?
Yeah, we don't have enough manpower to facilitate any of that or even provide any kind of security for that. We'll read the prosecutor's notes here, and at this point, you know, he's against it wholeheartedly.
If we do nothing today, the private parties can continue after midnight. So that's the problem. If we can use the leverage of the permit to eliminate that piece for y'all, then I think life is better.
I can agree with that.
Have either of y'all worked at an establishment that serves alcohol, bar, or restaurant?
Yes, we have.
I worked at Olive Garden,
As a server?
dishwasher, / yes, secretary.
So,
Well, later.
What about you? You said yes.
Yes, I think I worked that. What used to be a steakhouse, what's that? Citizen Steakhouse.
Okay. That and alcohol permit. What we're trying to establish, I think, or I know me personally, I can't speak for everybody, is what are your intentions? I think you both know how to operate if you want a restaurant to continue to operate. You know the hours, you know what crowd, you know what ratio of parties versus restaurants and all. I think you both also understand quickly what crowd and what hours will get you shut down real soon. You know, so it's up to y'all to balance that. It's up to us to allow you to have a permit to operate within the parameters. You know, you're gonna have a lot of time and money invested in this. We've got to trust that y'all have full intention of doing this correct and not being a problem for the police force and or the public. So, I still get mixed feelings here. You got one guy that wants
You
to,
got
you got a well, you got a restaurant, you got a guy that wants to run a restaurant, you got a mom that wants to have private parties.
No, I want to run the restaurant, and this here, I think it's unique, but all of this,
Sure.
yeah, the way over in the day.
Right.
And I do want to run the restaurant.
Well, that's not a private party. I'm
No, it's not,
You know, that's,
but that was the first one, like I said, we wasn't open. I said, that's a great idea, we, bring that in too. But I want to be lean and I want to work with the office.
Sure.
And so, they say 10 o'clock, shut off, 10 o'clock, don't be shut off. But it's party, like, and that's just how we want to operate, connect with one another.
In addition to the hours that Jamie has discussed, we discussed, are you open to agreeing to having a security plan that would be approved for those type of private parties that we're all alluding to here? Not the 3-year-old's birthday party, but more the other ones. So, I guess, Michael, one question I have is, if there was a motion, could we have a contingent on there being a security plan? How they're going to operate before a license was to be?
Are you asking if y'all can approve this stuff prior to the license being granted?
Like, if we're saying we'd be conditionally approving a permit subject to a security plan being reviewed by either us or the ABC, someone, to say that they've put together a plan that we can hold them accountable to.
Yes, hypothetically, likely would mean they'd have to come back up here, provide that to y'all. That's what you had in mind. Another 4 days down the road.
Once the board's pleasure on.
I think they know if they need security or not, but at the same time, I'd like to know up front, are they gonna hold events that security is required?
Yeah.
We're talking about fixing a problem that we created. Let's don't create the problem.
Yeah.
That's, the police force is there for problems that were created. I don't want to give them another one. I don't want the security to be the Band-Aid because we provided a permit that operates either too late in the evening when we know things go awry or attracts a crowd that's notoriously going to cause problems, which they, mentioned. The younger crowd's going to be the problem. We owe it to the public not to put the public in that situation in hopes that a security force helps it.
Yeah.
Is your primary business restaurant or bar?
It's a restaurant.
And so you worked at where before?
I worked at Olive Garden.
What time did they close?
They closed, it was in 2013, I believe, at 10 o'clock.
And they were primary restaurant serving.
Yes. It was more like, I believe it was wine.
So if we're primary restaurant, closed at 9 o'clock one night, they parties and that's the problem. I'd be expected to study that.
this particular restaurant.
On the permit application, the business model and their intentions for entertainment, a lot of what they put on the permit isn't gonna happen. Like, it's just atmosphere wise. And, you know, we've allowed establishments to do those kind of things under the assumption they're gonna continue to operate in a safe, respectful manner. I don't want to hinder them from having that opportunity, but we've already had issues. And they know what crowd creates the issues. And they won't operate very long at all if that crowd continues to give them issues. Now, I think if he wants to operate a seafood restaurant, you know, nobody eating dinner past 9 or 10. Dancing's a different story.
Can I eliminate the line dancing?
But it's,
Operate the secret, because number one, when I thought of that, I didn't think about any occurrences.
sure,
And I tried to keep a safe place. Like, when you saw, when they come in, there was no violence in it. But I don't want to have to go through this again. So let's just do the restaurant and I eliminate that. Keep all the parties and playground, kid board, free pass.
well, in all I said, I also want you all to have the opportunity to make enough money to make ends meet and operate. And some of that after hours stuff helps.
Yep.
As long as
Don't have to have
it's.
it.
Yeah, right now, the restaurant took the downfall.
Sure.
So it's put in our, competition, like open seasons, they have their alcohol, well, beer and wine license, that is. And so all the customers go in there instead of other cities since football started. So we took this.
Well, I just think it's the overall atmosphere that I think we want to be careful of. That's where the problem's coming from. I'm not worried about your patrons that are coming to eat shrimp. I'm not even worried about the ones that want to sit and watch a ball game, drink a beer till 10 o'clock. So it's the crowds that continue to gather outside on your property and somebody else's and become a danger for your neighbor.
Like I said, that wasn't our customers. Charlie Hope, he asked us to tell people the park well over. And the first time I did, like Stuttgart, they don't know me because I'm really not from there. And so I kind of like, this person gonna be, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, why he can't just put up a no solicitor, no broker sign on his own establishment instead of assuming because they're black and I'm black, that I can just go over there and tell them to get up off this property.
But I handled all of that. I made all of the flyers for it, for mine and yours. But, like I said, I want to go forward without having after hours, after 10 o'clock. It won't be all of that. They want to do a line dance contest, they do it Saturday morning, you know, they cut it off. There's still ways around where we can operate and they close at 10, 9 or 10 o'clock, whichever one free. That's the solution on that.
What's your occupancy in that building?
400.
100? That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But we don't have to. Pretty good.
Must be bigger than it looks.
Oh, yes.
I had, actually text the lady that actually owned the building, she said, it's about 100 to 150.
No, it's 400.
But she said, yes, that she always,
But you understand how parking will be an issue even across the street where you have permission. If you have a party that allows just 100 people in.
Well, we really don't have 100 people when they have parking. You see it?
Yeah, if you get a liquor permit, you might be surprised.
Well,
Yeah, it's,
then we just have to leave that alone.
When I had this idea for this restaurant, I told everybody I had a certain type of crowd I wanted there. People, as you can see in the video, only about 20 people was in it. And the rest of them either was driving up and down the street or something. There's no money. I'm gonna just be honest. They don't spend money. They don't come in. I don't want them. Right. I can really do, I don't have no problem with it. Not having a big and a nine. You know, it's other ideas that came into play that we got to deal with, and there wasn't what I agree. You know, and now those ideas are affecting me from running the establishment I dreamed of. And so I can do without whatever problem is arising from differences. None of that, I can do without a little crowd, basically, and I have no problem with that, eliminating that crowd.
Michael, they passed everything with
Based off the inspection
health department.
Yeah, they have their health department approval. They have the bathrooms, they have the exit signs, and based off the investigation report that Agent Latrice Ellis provided.
So our agents are okay with as it is.
Yes, there didn't seem to be any issues.
And then they'll have to take the alcohol beverage class.
Yes, we are actually currently not offering that due to COVID. They will be required to attend that once it becomes active again. And I believe they have to do that within 6 months of it becoming offered to them.
I want to make a stab at a motion.
Make a motion, give me just a second. Chief, were the cameras they had adequate? The security footage? I thought they said they reviewed some cameras after the shooting.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the officer name was.
I think his name was Cody.
How many cameras do you, I didn't, I'm not,
Yes,
They are on the outside, we got 2 in the back and 2 in the front, like that.
and on the side.
have none on the inside.
Yeah, and I think her name was Lila. Yeah. Yeah, is she there with y'all?
We pulled video footage, from prior to our arrival. That's how we found the suspect inside the club. So it's in the actual case file, but yes, they do have video footage inside and outside.
I planned this and assume it's an area that's gonna be like a bar or something that you're gonna serve from.
Yes.
Do you have like a camera that covers that part of it?
Sorry.
Okay.
Somebody can tweak this if they want to, I'm ready to make a motion. My motion, on on the case of Brenda Fry Harris and the Seafood Bar and Grill, 616 North Main, Stuttgart. Restaurant beer and wine combo refused September 16th of 21. My motion is to overturn and grant the permit on the condition that they cease to operate after 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 9 p.m. on Sunday, and that they maintain current video surveillance. If they operate under those hours, I don't feel the need for us to mandate that they have security at the door. That's added cost, and I believe under those conditions, that may not be necessary. That's my motion.
What were those times?
10 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 9 p.m. on Sunday. I'm not sure if they plan to be open Sunday or not. We didn't discuss that.
And that means no private events running past 10 o'clock. And I would suggest, Mr. Anderson hadn't made a requirement in his motion, but if you're having a private event after 6 o'clock at night, there's going to be 100 people for a birthday party, whatever. It would be wise to have security there just to keep the parking straight, to help the local police, an off-duty officer, to make sure people are not becoming a problem. You know, when you have it correct.
Chief Duke, are you and your department comfortable with this?
We can agree to those terms.
I'll second the motion.
Good, thank you. Quick question. Before we vote on it. Michael, are we allowed, if they operate for an extended period of time and show no more issues, can we come back and extend those hours if they ask us to later without applying for a new permit? Can we amend this?
I would say you would need to put something in your motion allowing that to happen. Otherwise, there would need to be a change in circumstances or a separate permit to allow y'all to essentially undo what y'all have already done, if that makes sense.
They have to come back and apply for the hours.
Yes, but in your motion, you need to say that they are permitted to come back and do that. You need to elaborate that. Otherwise, I believe there will be issues. It'll be a final order. It's not going to be modifiable by this body unless it's appealed up to a circuit court. Circuit court can remand it. At that point, it can be modifiable. But if y'all are going to modify it down the road, you all need to make sure y'all put something in there to that effect.
So let's vote on the motion as presented. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Okay. Good luck,
Thank you.
and no more parties after then. And that's when the trouble happens. You know, you have a shot at having a legitimate business. We don't.
And take the alcohol class, which you can.
Okay.
Need to know.
I need the address and read clear.
Sure, you got your time.
Anything else come before the board today?
Yeah, that was a
Not. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Sorry, we met.